What the hell did you do? A whole group of people is whispering and gossiping behind your back. Who exactly is in this group that can't stop talking about you? It's a mix of people you see almost daily, individuals from your immediate social circle or workplace who usually act completely normal to your face. But the second you turn around, the energy shifts and the whispering starts. What triggered this sudden wave of intense gossip and backstabbing? You made a bold move or a sudden decision that completely disrupted their quiet, predictable little dynamic. And because they couldn't see it coming, they feel exposed or threatened by your lack of compliance. Why are they choosing to whisper in secret instead of confronting you directly like adults? They are absolutely terrified of your reaction because they know they lack the backbone to stand up to your face. So it's much safer for them to gather in corners, feed off each other's nervous energy, and create a false sense of unity by making you the villain. How long has this secret talking been going on under your radar? This didn't just start yesterday. As the cards show, this resentment has been quietly brewing for weeks, building up from minor misunderstandings until one specific event just blew the lid off and turned it into a full-blown obsession. What is the main lie or exaggeration they are spreading about you right now? They are twisting a situation where you simply stood your ground or took what was rightfully yours, reframing it to make it look like you acted out of pure selfishness or arrogance just to hurt someone else. Who is the actual ringleader driving this entire smear campaign? There is one specific person who feels deeply insecure around you, someone who constantly compares themselves to you and fails, so they are using this current drama as a golden opportunity to rally others and finally knock you down a peg. How are the other people in the group reacting to this ringleader's manipulation? Most of them are just sheep who don't even have a personal issue with you, but they go along with the gossip because they are desperate to fit in and desperately afraid of becoming the next target if they don't nod along. Why did your recent success or change of attitude provoke such a toxic reaction from them? You started living by your own rules and stopped caring about their validation. And nothing infuriates a group of stagnant, unhappy people more than watching someone break free from the crowd and actually succeed. What are they planning to do with all this information and rumors they are gathering? They are trying to build a solid case to damage your reputation or alienate you from a position of authority, hoping that if enough people believe the narrative, you will eventually lose your footing and give up. How is this negative energy affecting your environment even if you haven't heard the words directly? You can literally feel the heavy, tense atmosphere the moment you walk into the room, notice the awkward silences, and see the way their eyes dart away because their guilt and cowardice are completely written all over their faces. Why should you absolutely refuse to play their game or try to explain yourself to them? Because trying to defend yourself to a closed mind is a complete waste of power. And they have already decided on the version of you that makes them feel better about their own miserable shortcomings. How will this entire situation backfire on them in the near future? The truth is already leaking out, and because this group is built entirely on jealousy and deceit, they will very soon turn on each other the second the heat gets turned up, completely destroying their own fragile alliance while you stand completely untouched. What specific piece of karma is about to hit the ringleader of this little group for organizing this mess? The very lies they manufactured to tear you down are already twisting into a trap for them, because someone higher up or outside this circle is starting to look into the rumors and notice the sheer malice behind them, which is going to shine a massive spotlight on the ringleader's utter incompetence and jealousy. Why are they suddenly getting so careless and sloppy with their whispering? They got way too comfortable thinking you were completely oblivious to their little games, so they've started talking louder, texting the wrong people, and leaving a trail of absolute evidence that is about to expose their entire operation to the light of day. What is the universe preparing to hand you as a direct result of enduring this silent betrayal? You're about to receive a massive, undeniable victory or elevation, whether it's a promotion, a major financial breakthrough, or a massive glow-up that will force every single one of these people to sit there and watch you rise while they remain stuck exactly where they are. How will the sheep in that group react when they see you getting blessed instead of broken? They are going to instantly regret siding with the ringleader, and you're going to notice them trying to subtly distance themselves from the toxic core, suddenly acting extra nice to you and trying to slide back into your good graces because they realize they backed the wrong horse. Why did this betrayal actually need to happen for your own personal growth right now? It was a necessary, harsh wake-up call from the universe to strip away the dead weight in your life, forcing you to see exactly who is genuinely for you and who was just pretending to be your friend while secretly praying for your downfall. How did they manage to mask their envy for so long before this explosion of gossip? They played the part of the supportive bystander, smiling at your face and giving you backhanded compliments. But behind closed doors, every single one of your achievements felt like a physical slap to their fragile egos. What is the absolute best way for you to handle walking into that room tomorrow knowing what they've been doing? You walk in with your head held high, looking absolutely flawless, radiating calm energy, and acting completely unbothered, because nothing drives a gossiping coward more insane than realizing their invisible arrows didn't leave a single scratch on you. Why are they so obsessed with tracking your every move and analyzing your behavior? Because deep down, they are utterly fascinated by you. They wish they had your courage, your style, and your undeniable strength. So they have to obsessively dissect everything you do just to try and figure out your secret formula. What is the next petty move they are going to try when they realize their current rumors aren't breaking your spirit? They are going to try to exclude you from upcoming events or meetings, attempting to create a cold, isolating environment where you feel totally left out. But it's going to completely fail because you never needed their superficial company to begin with. How will this forced isolation actually work in your favor over the next few weeks? It is giving you the perfect, drama-free space to focus entirely on your own grind, your own energy, and your own projects, allowing you to build an absolute empire in silence while they waste all their precious time and life force talking about you. Who is the unexpected ally inside or right outside that group who is about to come forward and tell you everything? There is a quiet observer who has been watching this disgusting behavior from the sidelines, someone who is totally disgusted by the group's pack mentality, and they are going to privately approach you with screenshots, names, and exact details of what was said. What should you do with the information this ally brings to you? You hold onto it like a royal flush, keeping it completely secret and using it as leverage or purely as validation, knowing that you have the upper hand and can drop the hammer whenever you choose. Why is the timing of this entire situation actually a hidden blessing? It's happening right before you enter a massive new chapter of abundance, and the universe is intentionally cleaning house, ensuring that not a single toxic parasitic energy gets to ride your coattails into the successful future you are building. How is your spiritual protection reacting to this group's negative intentions? Your ancestors, guides, and protective energies have set up an absolute wall of fire around you, turning every single curse or bad vibe thrown your way into pure spiritual fuel that is driving your manifestation power through the roof. What will happen to the dynamic of that group when the common enemy, you, stops reacting entirely? The second they realize they can't get a rise out of you, their boring little alliance will completely crumble, and they will start nitpicking, judging, and whispering about each other, turning their toxic venom inward until the entire group implodes from its own negativity. Why are you being reminded right now of your own royalty and worth? Because you temporarily forgot how powerful you are, and this situation was designed to make you stand up, dust off your crown, and realize that lions do not lose sleep over the opinions of absolute sheep. How will the final confrontation look when the truth finally comes out in the open? It won't even be a screaming match. It will be a moment where the cold, hard facts are laid on the table, and you will watch these pathetic whisperers completely stutter, stumble over their words, look down at the floor, and look absolutely ridiculous because they never expected to be held accountable. What is the long-term lesson you're walking away with after this storm finally clears? You're learning to trust your intuition instantly without second-guessing yourself, because you felt the vibe change weeks ago, and now you know never to ignore that gut feeling ever again. How will your financial or professional status look 3 months from now compared to theirs? You will be operating on an entirely different level of success and income, completely out of their reach, while they are still sitting in the exact same spot, drinking the same stale coffee, and talking about the exact same petty nonsense, because their minds are too small to grow. Why should you feel absolute pity for them instead of anger or hatred? Because it must be an incredibly miserable, exhausting existence to spend your days focusing on someone else's life instead of fixing your own broken reality. And their gossip is just a loud cry of their own insignificance. What is the exact secret they are terrified you will find out about them while they are busy projecting all their garbage onto you? They are desperately trying to hide their own massive failures, fraudulent behavior, or a huge mess they've made behind the scenes. And they figured that if they can keep everyone's eyes glued to a fabricated story about you, nobody will look closely enough to see how fast their own lives are rotting away. Why did they think they could get away with treating you like a scapegoat for this entire situation? Because in the past, you were always the healer, the bigger person, the one who took the high road and stayed quiet to keep the peace. So they mistakenly mistook your incredible kindness and patience for absolute weakness. How are they trying to cope with the fact that their malicious words don't seem to be draining your energy anymore? It's driving them into a state of pure anxious paranoia, where they are constantly checking your social media, watching who you talk to, and trying to read your facial expressions, completely losing their minds because your silence is acting like a mirror reflecting their own insanity right back at them. What will be the absolute breaking point that forces one of the weaker members of this gossiping circle to completely crack and confess? The pressure is going to get too intense when a situation arises where they actually need your help or expertise, and the absolute guilt of knowing they stabbed you in the back is going to make them choke on their own words until they spill everything just to ease their own conscience. Why is the universe making you endure this specific test of isolation right now before your big breakthrough? It's a spiritual detox designed to completely break your addiction to people-pleasing and external validation, forcing you to find your absolute anchor within yourself so that, when your massive success arrives, no one can ever claim they built you or have the power to tear you down. What is happening to the dark, heavy energy they are constantly throwing your way through their jealousy? It's literally bouncing off your energetic shield and manifesting in their own lives as sudden bad luck, technical issues, broken plans, and constant arguments among themselves because the spiritual law of return is working overtime to protect you. How will you know the exact moment the tide has officially turned completely in your favor? You will feel a sudden, profound wave of absolute peace and detachment wash over you, where you look at this entire group of people and realize you don't even feel anger anymore. Just a deep, distant sense of pity, because they have become completely irrelevant to your destiny. Why are they so deeply threatened by the fact that you don't fight back using their dirty, underhanded tactics? Because they know how to handle drama and pettiness, but they have absolutely no defense against cold indifference, dignity, and a high vibration, which leaves them totally powerless and flailing in the dark. What is the biggest illusion this group is trying to maintain about their own unity and friendship? They want you to think they are a tight-knit, unbreakable squad that has completely rejected you. But the truth is, they secretly despise and mistrust each other just as much. And the second you walk out of the room, they instantly start talking trash about the person who just left the circle. Who? How will your financial and creative energy explode the moment you completely cut the energetic cords connecting you to their opinions? You're going to experience a massive surge of clarity, inspiration, and raw motivation that you haven't felt in months, leading to a major project, a new stream of income, or an absolute masterpiece that will cement your status far above their petty league. Why should you completely ignore their desperate, subtle attempts to bait you into an argument or a reaction online or in person? Because they are starving for your attention and life force, and any reaction you give them, even an angry one, is just a free meal that validates their existence, so you have to keep them on an absolute starvation diet of zero attention. What is the ultimate fate of the ringleader who started this entire smear campaign out of pure insecurity? They are headed for a very public, embarrassing downfall where their deceit is laid bare for everyone outside the group to see, leaving them completely isolated, professionally damaged, and forced to eat the exact same dirt they tried to feed you. What kind of new, high-vibe people is this situation clearing out the space for in your life? By removing these toxic pretenders, you are making room for a completely new soul family. Genuine, confident, powerful individuals who will celebrate your wins, protect your name in rooms you aren't in, and match your level of ambition and loyalty. How will you feel when you look back at this exact week a year from now, from your new position of power? You will laugh out loud at the fact that you ever spent a single second crying, stressing, or losing sleep over a bunch of insignificant, insecure people who were nothing more than a minor speed bump on your highway to greatness. Why is it absolutely crucial that you don't lower your standards or try to play nice just to smooth things over with them now? Because any compromise you make right now will only show them that their toxic behavior works. So you must remain an absolute fortress, keeping your boundaries razor sharp and showing them that access to your energy is a privilege they have permanently lost. How is your inner circle or your spirit guides validating your innocence in this situation right now? They are sending you constant, undeniable signs, repeating numbers, vivid dreams, and sudden bursts of intuitive knowing, confirming that you did absolutely nothing wrong, that you are completely in the right, and that justice is already being handled on a cosmic scale. Why did these people think your light was something they could easily extinguish or dim down? They thought your gentleness meant you had no teeth, completely forgetting that the most compassionate souls are often protected by the fiercest spiritual forces, and they are about to learn that lesson the hard way. What will happen to the atmosphere of the room the next time you have to interact with them in a professional or formal setting? Your presence is going to feel so heavy, authoritative, and radiant that it will completely drown out their nervous energy, forcing them to swallow their pride, look away, and act incredibly small and compliant because they can't handle the sheer weight of your authenticity. How will the universe reward your absolute stoicism and grace through this entire painful process? With an undeniable, massive elevation that will make it completely obvious to everyone in your environment that you are chosen, protected, and blessed, leaving your haters with absolutely no choice but to watch your smoke as you rise higher than they ever dreamed possible. What is the biggest mistake they made when they decided to choose you as their target for this smear campaign? They completely underestimated your resilience and your deep, unspoken connection to your own power, thinking you were just another fragile person who would break down, cry, and beg for their approval. But instead, they accidentally woke up a sleeping giant that is about to outgrow them in every single area of life. Why are they suddenly feeling an intense, creeping dread every time your name comes up in their conversations now? Because they are starting to notice that despite all their coordinated efforts, whispering and plotting, your life isn't falling apart, your smile hasn't faded, and the people who actually matter are still gravitating toward you, which makes them realize their words hold absolutely no real power over your reality. How is the ringleader trying to keep control over the rest of the group as the rumors begin to lose their spark? They are frantically trying to dig up new dirt or completely invent brand new, outrageous lies to keep the drama alive, but it's becoming incredibly pathetic and transparent. And even their closest minions are starting to get exhausted by the sheer amount of toxic energy required to maintain this fake narrative. Why will the first person to leave this toxic circle come to you in total secrecy to beg for your forgiveness? They are going to experience a sudden streak of terrible luck, or an absolute crisis in their own life, and their intuition is telling them loud and clear that it's karmic retribution for hitting an innocent person. So they will try to clear their slate with you before the universe strikes them down even harder. What is happening behind closed doors with the people who originally listened to the gossip but didn't actively participate? They are quietly reviewing the situation, looking at your calm, dignified behavior versus the obsessive, rabid behavior of the whisperers, and they are coming to the independent conclusion that you were completely set up out of pure jealousy, which is completely destroying the ringleader's credibility in the wider community. How will this entire experience permanently alter the way you read people and energy from this moment forward? You are receiving an absolute masterclass in human psychology and discernment, meaning you will now be able to spot a fake friend, a hidden hater, or a narcissistic parasite from a mile away, saving yourself years of wasted time and emotional energy in your future relationships. Why is the universe demanding that you do absolutely nothing to seek revenge or get even with these individuals? Because your human hands are far too clean for this kind of dirty work, and the cosmic justice that is currently being cooked up for them is so precise, devastating, and thorough that any petty move on your part would only slow down the massive hammer of karma that is about to drop directly on their heads. What will be the exact catalyst that causes the group to completely turn on each other and start tearing their own circle apart? A massive secret, or a piece of juicy gossip involving the ringleader and one of the core members is about to be leaked, and because their entire bond is built on malice rather than genuine loyalty, they will instantly throw each other under the bus to save their own skin, creating an absolute circus of drama that you will get to watch from a safe, comfortable distance. How will your physical health, vitality, and appearance change the moment you fully stop processing their negative vibes? You are about to experience a massive energetic physical shift. Your skin is going to clear up, your sleep will become incredibly deep, and your overall aura will become so bright and magnetic that people completely outside this drama will start approaching you just to be near your radiant energy, making the haters look even more drained, gray, and miserable by comparison. Why are they so terrified of the silence you have chosen to weaponize against them? Because a loud response gives them ammunition and tells them exactly where it hurts, but absolute freezing silence leaves them entirely in the dark, forcing them to guess what you know, what you're planning, and when you're going to strike, which is causing them an agonizing amount of mental anxiety every single day. What is the grand illusion about their own status that this group is desperately trying to protect through their gossip? They want to believe they are the gatekeepers of your happiness, your career, or your social life. But the absolute truth is that their gate leads to a dead end, and you are currently building a brand new highway that completely bypasses their entire territory, leaving them completely irrelevant. How will your finances react over the next 90 days as a direct spiritual compensation for this emotional warfare? The universe always balances the scales, and because you chose integrity over retaliation, a massive, unexpected portal of material abundance is opening up for you. Whether it's a new contract, a major windfall, or a creative breakthrough that will bring in more wealth than this entire group earns combined. Why should you look at the ringleader not with hatred, but as a tragic, deeply broken individual who is drowning in their own filth? Because someone who spends 24/7 trying to dismantle another person's reputation is someone who absolutely loathes themselves when they are alone in the dark, and their obsession with you is just a desperate, tragic attempt to escape the horrific reality of their own empty, unfulfilled life. How will the wider community or management react when the full truth of this malicious whispering campaign is inevitably exposed? The mask is going to slip during a highly important formal moment, and the sheer unprofessionalism and malice of this group will be exposed to the people who hold the real power, resulting in a massive loss of trust, demotions, or complete social exclusion for the perpetrators, while your clean track record shines like gold. What is the specific message your spiritual protectors want you to internalize right now while you are standing in the eye of this storm? They want you to know that you are completely untouchable, that not a single weapon formed against you will ever prosper, and that this entire situation was allowed to happen solely to push you out of a low-vibe environment that you would have never left willingly on your own. How will you celebrate your ultimate victory when this chapter is officially closed and the dust has fully settled? You won't celebrate by rubbing it in their faces or boasting. Your ultimate celebration will be the beautiful, luxurious, peaceful life you're about to live, completely surrounded by genuine love, immense wealth, and absolute freedom, while they remain nothing but a faint, laughable memory from a past you completely outgrew. What is the exact moment when the entire narrative they built against you is going to completely collapse in front of everyone? It's going to happen during an upcoming group setting or meeting where they try to subtly trap you or make you look bad in public. But instead of fumbling, you're going to present an undeniable piece of work, a fact, or a calm response that instantly exposes their entire argument as a desperate manufactured lie. Why are some of the people who originally joined the Whispering Circle suddenly feeling an overwhelming wave of cold paranoia every time they look at you? They're realizing that your calm, unbothered demeanor isn't a front. They are starting to sense the massive, invisible spiritual backing you have, and a deep gut feeling is warning them that messing with you was the biggest mistake they could have ever made for their own careers and peace of mind. How will the ringleader try to react when they realize they are completely losing their grip on the group's loyalty? They're going to start acting incredibly erratic, throwing tantrums, demanding that people take sides, and behaving so aggressively that even their most dedicated followers will get completely turned off and begin to quietly back away to avoid getting dragged down with them. What is the hidden truth about how much time they are actually wasting on discussing your life instead of focusing on their own responsibilities? They are spending hours every single day analyzing your posts, your clothes, your expressions, and your work, completely neglecting their own progress, which is exactly why their output is tanking, and their own lives are visibly falling apart while you keep moving forward. Why did the universe pick this exact time to let this group show their true colors to you so loudly? Because you were about to enter a major commitment or partnership with someone in that circle, and your guides needed to slam the door and expose the rot before you invested your precious time, money, and energy into a sinking ship that would have ruined your future. How will your reputation actually look to outsiders once this storm completely clears out? Your standing is going to be completely bulletproof, because anyone with an ounce of intelligence is going to look at how beautifully and professionally you handled this toxic onslaught, and your integrity is going to attract incredibly powerful, high-vibe mentors and opportunities that would have never noticed you if you were still hiding in the crowd. What is the ultimate psychological damage this group is inflicting upon themselves by keeping this petty grudge alive? They are trapping themselves in a low-vibrational echo chamber of pure bitterness, permanently stunting their own personal growth and ensuring that the only things they can manifest in their own lives are more drama, more betrayal, and more scarcity. Why should you absolutely refuse to look back or check up on what they are doing once you finally walk away from this environment? Because looking back only feeds their dead energy with your valuable attention, and the absolute highest form of disrespect you can show a hater is to completely forget they ever existed while you enjoy your new, abundant reality. What specific text message or leaked conversation is about to accidentally fall right into your lap over the next few days? Someone in that group is going to make a massive technical error, either sending a screenshots and gossip text directly to you by mistake, or dropping it in a shared drive or chat where it doesn't belong, giving you absolute, undeniable proof of their backstabbing behavior without you even having to dig for it. How will you feel the exact second you hold that undeniable proof in your hands? You won't even feel hurt. You will feel a massive sense of relief and cosmic vindication, knowing that your intuition was 100% right all along, and that you no longer have to waste a single ounce of energy wondering if you were just being paranoid. Why are they so deeply terrified of the fact that you have completely stopped trying to fit into their little social hierarchy? Because your independence proves that their social validation is completely worthless, and nothing terrifies a group of conformist, insecure people more than seeing someone who is totally self-sufficient, completely happy alone, and utterly immune to their childish peer pressure. What is the massive creative or financial project that you need to pour all this frustrated, intense energy into right now? You need to take every single bit of the anger, disappointment, and shock you felt from this betrayal and channel it entirely into your grind, because that raw emotional fuel is going to supercharge your focus and help you build something so wildly successful that it will permanently alter your financial destiny. How will the sheep in that group try to rewrite history when you are officially elevated and standing in your full power? They're going to completely change their tune, falsely claiming to anyone who will listen that they were always on your side, that they always knew you were special, and they will desperately try to use their past association with you to boost their own pathetic status. How should you respond when these exact hypocrites eventually try to slide back into your life with fake smiles and casual conversation? You treat them with the absolute coldest polite distance imaginable, nodding and moving right past them without giving them a single inch of your personal life, showing them that while you may have forgiven the situation, their access to your inner circle has been permanently and irrevocably revoked. Why is your spiritual team actively blocking you from trying to fix or salvage any relationship within this specific group of people? Because these people are energetic vampires whose sole purpose in your story was to act as a catalyst for your awakening, and trying to heal things with them would only drag you back down into the mud when the universe is screaming at you to fly higher. What is the final, beautiful image the cards are showing for your life once this entire toxic chapter is completely closed and buried? You are standing in a place of complete, unshakable peace, surrounded by immense wealth, genuine friends who would take a bullet for you, and a deep, profound sense of pride, knowing that you stood your ground, kept your dignity, and let the universe handle the trash while you claimed your absolute crown. What is the exact lie the ringleader is telling themselves in the mirror every night to justify this obsessive hatred toward you? They are desperately convincing themselves that you somehow stole their spotlight, their opportunities, or their ideas, because their massive, fragile ego cannot accept the brutal reality that you are simply more talented, more liked, and naturally more magnetic without even trying. Why is the rest of the group starting to feel a deep, heavy sense of exhaustion every time your name is brought up in their secret huddles? Because hate takes a massive amount of daily energy to sustain, and while you are out there living your life, growing your business, and focusing on your peace, they are stuck in a miserable, toxic routine of dissecting your every move, and the sheer boredom of their own negativity is finally starting to wear them down to the bone. How will the universe physically manifest the cosmic backlash against this group's negative intentions over the next 2 weeks? You're going to notice a chain reaction of petty disasters hitting their lives, sudden technical failures on their projects, major miscommunications with management, and intense internal arguments within their own circle, because the dark energy they sent your way has hit your spiritual shield and is now bouncing straight back to its source with double the force. Why are they suddenly so terrified of looking you directly in the eyes when you walk past them in the hallway or the office? Because your eyes aren't showing weakness, anger, or a desire for revenge. They are showing absolute cold clarity and a complete lack of fear, which lets them know that you see right through their fake smiles and that they have completely lost the psychological upper hand. What is the secret confession that one of the quietest members of that group is currently typing out, but deleting over and over again? There is someone in that circle who feels an absolute burning guilt for sitting by and letting the ringleader drag your name through the mud, and they are desperately trying to find the courage to text you an apology, but their own intense cowardice and fear of being exiled by the group is keeping them frozen in silence. Why did your guides purposefully block you from discovering this entire whispering campaign until it reached its absolute peak? Because if you had found out early on, you would have tried to fix it, communicate, or find a compromise with these people, but the universe needed the betrayal to be so massive and undeniable that you would have absolutely no choice but to cut the cord completely and walk away into your true power. How will your bank account and professional status react the exact moment you mentally decide to completely stop giving these people your free mental real estate? A massive, stagnant, energetic block is going to shatter instantly, unleashing a huge wave of financial abundance, new clients, or a major career breakthrough that was being held up by the heavy, parasitic cords connecting you to their opinions. Why is the ringleader's own position or title about to be put under intense scrutiny by people high above them? Because while they were busy playing puppet master and organizing a high school smear campaign against you, they completely dropped the ball on their own work, and leadership is about to launch a full review that will expose their total incompetence to the entire organization. What will happen when you accidentally find yourself alone in a room with the ringleader in the very near future? They will instantly lose all their tough, arrogant energy, their voice will shake, and they will try to act incredibly nice, sweet, and accommodating to your face, proving once and for all that they are nothing more than a pathetic coward who can only bark when they have a pack of sheep standing right behind them. How will your intuition signal to you that you have officially outgrown this entire toxic dynamic once and for all? You will walk into that environment one day soon and realize that the heavy, anxious pit in your stomach is completely gone, replaced by a profound, distant sense of amusement where you look at their whispering corners and feel nothing but absolute pity for how small and stagnant their lives are. Why should you absolutely refuse to show any form of emotional reaction when the leaked screenshots or texts finally reach your eyes? Because a reaction tells the universe that you still care about their level of reality, but a cold, indifferent shrug shows that you are operating on a completely different frequency, which completely starves their negative spells of any power over your destiny. What kind of elite, high vibrational doors are opening for you the exact second this low vibe door is permanently locked and bolted behind you? You are being redirected toward a circle of genuine power players, mentors, and fiercely loyal allies who have the actual capacity to match your ambition, protect your name in secret rooms, and celebrate your massive wins without a single ounce of hidden envy. Why is the timing of this public exposure going to be completely flawless and devastating for them? It's going to hit right when they think they have finally won, right when they are celebrating their fake triumph over your reputation, making the sudden collapse of their narrative so public and embarrassing That they will never be able to fully recover their credibility in that space again? How is your spiritual protection team using this entire painful ordeal to prepare you for the massive fame or leadership role coming into your life next? They are building thick, bulletproof armor around your mind, ensuring that when you are standing at the absolute top of your field with thousands of eyes on you, no amount of public criticism, jealousy, or internet noise will ever be able to shake your unshakable core. What will the sheep of that group do when they realize the ringleader's ship is officially sinking and taking water fast? They will completely abandon them without a single second thought, deleting the group chats, pretending they never agreed with the rumors, and frantically trying to associate themselves with you again, just to save their own pathetic skins from the fallout. Why must you keep your plans, your new projects, and your upcoming moves in absolute dead silence until they are fully completed? Because the energy around you is still highly charged, and keeping your future manifestations hidden in the dark ensures that not a single drop of their jealous, toxic eye can touch or delay the massive victory the universe is currently building for you. What is the absolute funniest thing about the way they are trying to monitor your life right now? They are literally using fake accounts, asking third parties casual questions about you, and straining their ears to catch glimpses of your conversations, turning themselves into your absolute biggest fans while convinced they are being incredibly stealthy and clever. Why are their efforts to isolate you actually making you look like an absolute mystery that everyone else wants to solve? Because when a group visibly tries to freeze someone out, outsiders naturally look at that person and notice how calm, collected, and successful they are, which makes the outsiders realize that the group is just a bunch of bitter haters and that you are the real prize in the room. How will the ringleader feel when they see you getting a massive public compliment or award from someone they desperately respect? It is going to absolutely destroy their peace for weeks, causing them to lose sleep and obsess over how unfair the universe is, because they genuinely believe that their hard work at hating you should have yielded some kind of toxic reward by now. What is the energetic reality of the specific space you are currently working or living in as this drama plays out? The space is undergoing an absolute spiritual purge, meaning that all the hidden malice, fake smiles, and stagnant energy are being forced up to the surface so you can see them clearly, pack your things, and move to a much higher level of existence. Why will your absolute refusal to explain your side of the story completely paralyze their ability to keep the gossip going? Gossip is a fire that needs constant fuel, and by refusing to fight back, clarify, or drop down to their level, you are cutting off their oxygen supply entirely, leaving them to choke on the stale, recycled lies they've been telling each other for weeks. What is happening to the mental health of the group members who know they are lying just to please the ringleader? They are experiencing an intense, daily friction in their own minds because they know they are compromising their own integrity for a deeply insecure bully, and that internal rot is going to start showing up as intense stress, fatigue, and absolute chaos in their own personal lives. How will your financial path completely detach from their low-vibe reality over the next 30 days? You're about to hit an absolute sweet spot of creative alignment where an idea you've been sitting on suddenly clicks, bringing in a wave of rapid growth, recognition, and resources that will make their opinions look so incredibly small, you won't even remember why you cared. Why is it absolutely essential that you maintain a completely neutral, robotic poker face every single time you have to interact with the core group? Because they are constantly fishing for a crack in your armor, a heavy sigh, or an angry look to validate their narrative, so when you give them absolute blank neutrality, it forces them to realize they have zero power over your emotional state. What is the absolute truth about the ringleader's hidden admiration for your style, your look, and your essence? They are literally obsessed with how you carry yourself, and if you look closely over the next few weeks, you are going to notice them subtly mimicking your phrases, trying to dress like you, or adopting your habits, proving that their hatred is just a twisted, deformed mutation of pure worship. How will the universe handle the fake friends who are currently playing both sides, pretending to support you in private while nodding along with the haters in public? Their double dealing is about to get completely exposed when they accidentally expose their own duplicity to both sides at once, leaving them with absolutely zero allies and a completely ruined reputation for being an untrustworthy snitch. Why are your spiritual guides laughing at the traps this group is trying to set for your career or social standing. Because every single obstacle they are trying to put in your path is being systematically converted by your team into a literal stepping stone that is going to push you higher and faster towards your ultimate destiny than you ever could have managed on your own. What is the heavy cosmic price they will all have to pay for trying to dim the light of someone who was minding their own business and working in absolute silence? The universe protects the peaceful, and because they chose to launch an unprovoked attack out of pure malice, the scales of justice are going to demand that they lose their own peace, their own focus, and their own fortunes until the spiritual debt is fully paid. How will you feel when you finally pack your bags, sign that new contract, or walk out of that environment for the very last time? You will feel an incredible physical lightness in your chest, as if a massive, invisible weight has been lifted off your shoulders, and you won't even look back at the building because you'll be too busy looking at the brilliant, sunlit horizon of your new life. Why did this experience need to be so painful and close to home for you to finally learn your lesson about boundaries? Because you have an incredibly massive, beautiful heart that always wants to give people the benefit of the doubt. And the universe had to let them stab you in the back just hard enough to make you put up an absolute iron wall that no low-vibe parasite can ever penetrate again. What is the specific message of power your ancestors want you to remember when you feel lonely in this current transition phase? They want you to remember that the path to absolute greatness is always walked alone before the real crowd arrives, and that the isolation you are feeling right now isn't a punishment. It is an absolute royal consecration separating you from the masses. How will the story of this group end once you are completely gone and out of their reach forever? They will desperately try to find a new target to satisfy their addiction to gossip, but because no one else has your specific light or patience, the group will completely implode from their own toxic venom, leaving them scattered, bitter, and utterly stuck in the mud while your name becomes an absolute legend in that space.